Alright, this is Rock's Reverend Heart back. Continuing off my last video talking about Rock's joining the independent wrestling scene. You know, where the big names were made, like CM Punk, to name one who just returned to the ring, who also happens to be on the show Heels. And because of my time on the show Heels on Stars, I was able to meet Phil Brooks in person, and I actually kind of got a little insider knowledge that I knew he was coming back before the rest of y'all. CM Punk to AEW confirmed. So I kind of knew about it even before Wrestle Talk knew about it. Pretty cool. I kept my lips sealed. It's one cool thing because Phil Brooks was a character on the show Heels, kind of hidden. If you wouldn't really recognize him in his costume or whatever, his makeup and all that, unless you really knew who you were watching. So stay tuned for that episode, because he's in Stars. It's like in their first episode run right now, so stay tuned. He's somewhere in that series. Anyway, so Rock's joining the independent wrestling scene. Getting a little hot in here. So I had a couple gimmicks, and my first gimmick was gravity. Zero gravity, or gravity I think it was. I played a character. I wasn't very good at doing a lot of flips, high flying maneuvers, grappling round stuff. Not so much that. I was more of a striker, brawler, weird kind of tactics, devious tactics. But one of my big things was I was good at falling, kind of like a Mick Foley kind of thing, who was an inspiration of mine. So I was good at falling from heights and getting hurt. So I called my character Zero Gravity, I think it was. And I was wrestling for a company called UWA, United Wrestling Alliance, I think it was called. Underground Wrestling Alliance, United Wrestling Alliance, I can't remember. But it was based in upstate New York, and we put on some shows for state fairs and for concerts, like the K-Rockathons and a lot of basement stuff, things like that. But in there, I got to wrestle as a jobber, basically, but I came out to, like, my theme song was Gravity by Typo Negative, which was just pretty much no vocals. It was just kind of sounds of, like, dragging chains and moshing and, I don't know, just weird clunking sounds that fit my character well. So I just wore a flannel shirt, kind of like Mick Foley, and I took big dives until I actually blew my knee out. Performing a stunt, not even for the show. I was showing off and being a dweeb, and I blew my knee out, and that pretty much ended my independent wrestling career. But not until after I was able to try a couple other gimmicks. I had a few masked gimmicks. I had this one character. It was kind of like a zombie character. It was very low energy. It's like the extreme opposite of the Ultimate Warrior. So I came out not as a zombie, but like my movements were slow. I was lazy, lethargic. I became the softcore champion, which is a title I invented at the time. It was basically just this soft material for a title belt. And the idea behind that was that opposite of the hardcore title, you know, it's a title that was by playing by the rules, using the rules to my advantage. Now, I didn't do this with the zombie character. I think I did this maybe with my Zero G character. He was my Zero G character was a face character. This, I think it was Grimrocks was the name of my zombie character. And the way I did it was kind of biting a little bit off the Undertaker, but not. I wasn't undead, but I was just, you can knock me down like 100 times and I'd still kind of get back up, but not like sit up like the Undertaker. I just kind of crawl back to my feet every single time, kick out as much as possible. Kind of like I think Orange Cassidy, you know, he's kind of just low impact on his moves, low movements, kind of dorking around the ring kind of thing. That was kind of me. Until I blew out my knee, I had a lot of fun with the wrestling, and I enjoyed the live aspect of acting live in front of an audience, things like that. That was really cool for me. So that's what influenced me to get back into acting officially now. At 20 years later, I'm now just starting to do acting, which I wish I would have followed through immediately after my wrestling experience. I wish I would have started 20 years ago. However, better late than never, right? So, but wrestling, I've been a loyal fan to WWE and other wrestling organizations out there right now, AEW and all that. I watch a lot of that. I read about all that. I watch the Wrestle Talks and the WrestleManias and the No DQs videos and websites and stuff like that for insider information and things like that, results. I have been for the entire time I've been a fan, since I was looking it up in high school libraries on their computers and stuff till now. So that was my experience as an independent wrestler in the indie scene. I kind of wish I'd stuck to it, but I kind of got out of it. After I blew out my knee, I kind of reevaluated and realized I wasn't getting much bigger as a dude. Like, I hit my peak at 5'9", 5'10", 200 pounds at best at the time. Really, I was like 190, 185, 190. I looked ripped. I had the muscles. I had the abs. I was looking pretty good, but I was not the biggest guy in the roster. I was fighting fat guys. I was fighting tall, 6 foot, 300 pounders and getting crushed. And it took a couple landings on my chest. Hearing my ribs kind of crack, hearing my skull kind of crack, landing on my head. Getting whipped around, power bomb after power bomb, chair shot after chair shot. And back then they didn't regulate that kind of stuff. We emulated what we saw on TV, so we got chair shots after chair shots with non-prop chairs. These things hurt like hell. Concussion after concussion. Used to bleed a lot, that kind of thing. It was really fun for me. That aspect of wrestling was awesome. That get in there and just get bloodied up. I mean, that was probably my favorite part of it. But retiring from it early because I wasn't the biggest guy and I got my ass kicked. I wasn't winning a lot of matches. I was jobbing out a lot of matches to guys I believed weren't even half the talent, half the charisma, but because they're just bigger. It's like all my idols in wrestling at the time, The Undertaker, Big Show, all these Kane, all these giants. I'm like, if I ever make it to the main flagship show on Raw, WWE Raw or something, I'm gonna be up against these behemoths of dudes. I'm like not much bigger, I felt, than like a Rey Mysterio kind of thing. So I'm like, I don't think I should continue this career path. I'm already injured and I haven't made it even barely a foot in the door in the business. But then seeing people like Daniel Bryan become champions and Rey Mysterio become champion, and these guys are like basically my size, I was like, well, shit. Maybe I should have stuck with it. Maybe I should have. I'm even contemplating it now after seeing people like Diamond Dallas Page start their careers in like in his 40s, I believe he started his career. I'm about there. Maybe I'll still consider the option. Maybe I'll make it as an actor first and then get into wrestling. You never know. That's what I'd really like to be, a wrestler on the show Heels. That'd be an ultimate goal, like maybe season 2 or 3. That being said, thanks for watching me ramble about my independent scene. If you have any experience as a wrestler or as a wrestling fan, please leave it in a comment below and let me know what you think about wrestling. I'm a huge fan, lifelong fan. Finally happy The Undertaker retired, so I felt like that was my official retirement as like a dedicated fan. I watch it casually now. I don't watch it like religiously anymore. So anyway, that's where I stand with that. My next video I'm going to talk about is going to be how wrestling influences my acting. So stay tuned for that.